folks. This is Pastor Mike Hoggard, pastor of Bethel Church in Festus, Missouri, and head of prophetic research ministry with another Watchman video broadcast. Something's going on this week, or last week. Something that we're not supposed to know about. Something that the people that are part of the goings-on don't want you to know anything about until it's the right time. What do they have in mind? What have they got in store? What is it that they, the they of conspiracy theories, what is it that they are planning for us? We're going to find out what's going on. I saw this article, and I wanted to use it as a precursor to what we're going to talk about today. Cashless society, nanotech RFID tags to be read at up to 300 meters. Rice-Korean collaboration produces printable tag that could replace barcodes. Nano-based RFID tag. You're it. Long lines at store checkouts could be history if a new technology created in part at Rice University comes to pass. Rice researchers have come up with an inexpensive printable transmitter that can be invisibly embedded in packaging. It would allow a customer to walk a cart full of groceries or other goods past a scanner on the way to the car. The scanner would read all items in the cart at once, total them up, and charge the customer's account while adjusting the store's inventory. Now, I don't know if you remember this. About 10 years ago, I remember seeing a commercial. There was a guy walking into he was a kind of a thug-looking guy with this long overcoat, really bad-looking. He was walking into a grocery store. He would walk through the store, grab stuff off the shelf, shove it down in his overcoat like he was hiding it. People are looking at him suspiciously. There's a security guard watching him like this. He stuffs all this stuff in his overcoat, walks out the front door, and then someone from the store comes in and says, "Hey!" The guy turns around and goes, "What? You forgot your receipt." Basically, it was a foreshadowing of what it is that we're dealing with today. This idea of being able to take everything off the store shelf, walk through the store with your grocery cart, walk out of the store, and automatically, for somehow, some magical way, the store knows exactly what you took. By the way, they would have to know then who you are and your identity. We've dealt with that many times before on this broadcast about how they're able to figure out who you are. Some way then of when you walk out the store, you don't even wait in line. All of a sudden, you're scanned, the money is taken out of your bank account, and you're free to go. What sort of implication does this have? Revelation chapter 13. We always go to the Bible. In fact, I'm going to be dealing with a future king that's coming. A future king and the people who are involved in setting up the reign of this future king. He is referred to by John as the Antichrist. He's also referred to as the beast that rises up out of the sea. A false prophet comes to sort of prepare his way and set up a system in the world whereby everybody could just walk through the store, grab what they want, walk out, and it's automatically paid for. They're marked or tagged in a certain way. Revelation 13:16, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond. There are 6 groups here. That number 6 is very important. To receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. So basically, all these news items that we're seeing today about RFID tags and financial things going on, it seems that we're being set up for something, a cashless society, a way for some people at the top of the food chain, as it were, to be able to control everything that goes on underneath them. It's about total control. The mark is going upon all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond. It doesn't matter who you are, except unless you're a born-again, Bible-believing Christian. That mark is going on everybody so that the king that's being set up to rule and reign over mankind has total control over everybody. They are marked. They are tagged. They are identified. We've dealt with that before. They will be able to control all of the markets, the marketing, the financial transactions that goes on planet Earth during this time. How long is this time going to last? The Bible says in Revelation 13:5, and there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies, and power was given unto him to continue 42 months. Now, there's some interesting things in the Bible that I'm just going to kind of use as a precursor here. You know, we study a lot of Bible numbers. We study a lot of patterns that are given to us in the Bible. The typological things that are in the Scriptures that sort of give us an idea of what is going to happen. I know that one of the reasons why this Antichrist rules and reigns for 42 months, if you go to Matthew chapter 1, you count the lineage that's given there in Matthew chapter 1, the book of the generation of Jesus Christ, and you'll see 42 names mentioned there. And that 42, the number 6 multiplied by the number 7, I think is interesting. 6 maybe for being for the number of man and the creation of man. 7 being for perfection, and those two fused together. We see the exact opposite then in the Antichrist, the man of sin, the son of perdition, the beast of Daniel chapter 7, the fourth beast of Daniel chapter 7, the beast of Revelation 13. And you see this number pattern of the number 42 and his rule and his reign being exactly 42 months. We go back to the Old Testament, to the kings of Israel, Saul, David, Solomon, Rehoboam, and then Jeroboam. The kingdom divided. You have the 10 northern nations, and you have the 2 southern ones, Judah and Benjamin, being ruled over by 2 different governments, 2 different lines of kings. The interesting thing is that from Saul until the last king that ruled when they went into Babylonian captivity, the exact number of kings that ruled over Israel was 42. This number is interesting because we're going to deal with this issue of the king. God wanted to be the ruler. God wanted to be the one in charge. God wanted to be the head of the nation of Israel. And all the time that they were wandering through the wilderness, God did that through Moses, and then through the judges that you see in the book of Judges, all the way up until the day of Samuel. When Samuel came along, the people, and I want you to watch this now. This is a perfect example of ordo ab chaos. In other words, in the days of Eli, which was he was the predecessor of Samuel. In the days of Eli, we see his 2 sons, Hophni and Phinehas, and they're very wicked and they're very vile, and they're creating a chaotic scene that goes along with the religious structures there in Shiloh where they were ruling. And then that carried on to the days of Samuel. Samuel was a good guy, but his 2 sons were wicked and they were evil. And the people disdained them, and they knew that Samuel was getting old, and they said, you know what, when Samuel dies, we're going to be left with his 2 sons, and we don't want that. It's a perfect example of the chaotic structures going on at the time, and then the order that is going to come out of that chaos. And I want you to look around you. Look around at the world that we live in right now. It seems like that our financial systems are in a state of chaos. The banking system, it doesn't work anymore. The political structures. We cannot elect a decent politician. I don't care from what side of the aisle they're on. We can't seem to find a decent politician. The business structures, the financial structures, the political structures, the healthcare structures, the religious structures, they're all corrupt, and somehow, some way, they're all going bad. And the people are going to be asking for a change. We want something different. And that's what they did. They approached Samuel and they said, Samuel, when you die off, we don't want your 2 sons reigning over us. They're wicked, they're corrupt. We want nothing to do with them. Samuel, we want a king. So it made Samuel angry. When you read 1 Samuel 8, you'll see that it made him angry. And he went to the Lord and he said, God, they want a king. Do something about it. And God said, you're going to give them a king. Hearken to what they're saying to you. But Samuel, here's what I want you to do. I want you to go and I want you to rehearse in the ears of all the people that are listening. I want you to tell them the manner of the king that they're going to get. Now remember that from that time, from Saul to the very end, they had 42 kings reigning over them. This was a typological pattern. In other words, a prophetic pattern of a future king that is going to come. And this description given to us, we're going to read this. I referenced this in the UFO video that we did as pertaining to the chariots of this particular king. This king that's coming is not of this world. He is of the underworld, as it were. He is a beast, literally, in every sense of the word, a spiritual antichrist to reign over mankind, a cruel authority, a man of fierce countenance, the Bible calls him. He's going to rule over them, and God said, I want you to tell the people what kind of king they're going to get. Now, we're going to read some scriptures here, and I just want you to pay attention. I'm going to run through these fairly fast, and I want you to pay attention to the kind of king that mankind is soon to get, because we're going to look at least one of the organizations that are helping to set up exactly this kind of king. They're known as the Bilderberg group, and we're going to show you what's going on in the Bilderberg meeting. I have top secret documents leaked from God himself that shows you what's going on at the Bilderberg meeting. 1 Samuel chapter 8, verse 11. The Bible says, and he said, this will be the manner of the king that shall reign over you. He will take your sons and appoint them for himself, for his chariots to be his horsemen, and some shall run before his chariots. And he will appoint them captains over thousands and captains over 50s. And he shall set them to ear his ground and to reap his harvest, and to make his instruments of war and instruments of his chariots. And he will take your daughters to be confectionaries and to be cooks and to be bakers. And he will take your fields and your vineyards and your olive yards, even the best of them, and give them to his servants. And he will take the tenth of your seed and of your vineyards and give to his officers and to his servants. And I want to stop right here. Think about those of you who study what's going on in the world. Think about all of the organizations in the world, like the United Nations, the World Health Organization, or some of these other organizations. Some of them were present at the Bilderberg meeting. Think about these organizations, these groups that have an agenda. Agenda 21 comes to mind, or others like it, that are after the land. They're after the land. They're after the crops. They're after this. They're after that. They're grabbing them up so they can have control over them. Whereas, let's say, as an American citizen, you were supposed to have rights over your property. You own the land. You should be able to do pretty much what you want to do with it. But now, the United States, in cooperation with the United Nations, comes in and says, actually, this ground is pretty vital for the sustainability of Mother Gaia Earth. And so we're going to take over this land, and you have to get out. You have to leave. You have no control over what's going on the ground underneath your very feet. You have no control over that. This is the setup for the king that is coming. Verse 16, and he will take your men servants and your maid servants and your goodliest men and your asses and put them to his work. And he will take the tenth of your sheep, and ye shall be his servants. And ye shall cry out in that day because of your king, which ye shall have chosen you, and the Lord will not hear you in that day. Now I want to point out something about this verse that I think is very, very interesting. God says, you're going to choose the king that you want. Do you remember? Remember the day that Jesus was crucified. Here we have Jesus, the Son of God, the King of Kings and Lord of Lords, who one of these days will rule and reign over all of mankind, and he will rule in righteousness, and he will bring peace